We've just got some breaking news in from Buckingham Palace, folks. So this statement has just come in from Buckingham Palace and I'll read it for you. It goes on to say, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours.
Queen Camilla, gone. That was the claim tearing across social media within hours. A queen consort, allegedly expelled from the very institution she now represents. And standing at the center of it all? Not a scandal, not a court case. A name you already know, Prince William. But before you believe a single word of it, ask yourself this. If something this seismic actually happened inside Buckingham Palace, wouldn't the whole world already know for certain, not just be guessing? That question is exactly where this story gets interesting. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about one rumor. It's about how a story with zero official confirmation convinced millions of people it was true. And what that reveals about the monarchy's future. Stay until the end, because the final twist in this isn't about Camilla at all. It's about you, and why you were ready to believe it. Let's start with the facts, the ones nobody disputes. At the time of writing, Buckingham Palace has made no announcement removing Camilla from the royal family. No constitutional order, no statement, nothing. And there is no verified evidence, none, that Prince William orchestrated any such move. So if none of it is confirmed, why does it feel so believable? Here's the uncomfortable answer. In today's royal watching culture, perception now travels faster than fact. Every appearance is dissected. Every absence is treated as a clue. Every photograph becomes evidence in a case nobody actually filed. And that single shift changes everything about how this story should be read. Because this was never really a story about Camilla losing her title. It's a story about who the public has already decided will define the monarchy's next chapter, and how far people are willing to run with that belief before a single fact catches up. Let's break down exactly what's confirmed, what's reported, and what's simply assumed. Because mixing those up is how rumors become truth. Confirmed. Camilla remains queen consort under King Charles III's reign. Her ceremonial and constitutional position hasn't changed. Reported. Online chatter and tabloid pieces have speculated that William could one day reduce Camilla's public role. Observed. Those reports spread fast and pulled in massive attention, despite zero official backing. Interpreted. Most commentators see this less as proof of a real decision and more as a symbol of where people think the monarchy is heading. Keep those four categories in mind. Because almost every viral royal story, this one included, is built by quietly blurring the lines between them. Now here's where it gets bigger than just two people. The British monarchy isn't just a family with famous last names, it's a constitutional institution, a symbol of continuity through decades of political chaos and social change. So whenever a name surfaces as the next defining figure of that institution, public fascination goes into overdrive. That's exactly why William's name keeps appearing in stories like this one. He isn't just next in line. In the public imagination, he already represents what comes after this era ends. To understand why that expectation runs so deep, we need to rewind to the single moment that reshaped the entire royal landscape. September 8th, 2022. The death of Queen Elizabeth II ended a 70-year reign, and with it, an era built on stability that most people alive had never known life without. King Charles III took the throne, Camilla became queen, and William stepped into the role of Prince of Wales, one position closer to the crown, and carrying more public weight than at any other point in his life. Those changes were real, visible, confirmed. What they meant for the future? That's where speculation took over. For years, royal commentators have suggested William favors a leaner monarchy, fewer senior royals, more focus on hands-on public work than ceremonial tradition. Confirmed. William has openly discussed modernizing royal engagement, especially around homelessness, mental health, and climate initiatives. Reported. Several royal authors argue he wants a smaller, more streamlined institution built for modern relevance. Interpreted. That's led many to assume structural change isn't just possible, it's already happening. But here's the constitutional detail almost everyone skips over. Preparing for a future reign is not the same as exercising the power of a reigning monarch. William cannot strip Camilla of anything. He has no authority to. Yet that distinction rarely survives the retelling. And that gap between what William is preparing for and what he's actually able to do right now is exactly where this rumor found room to grow. Across forums, comment sections, and tabloid headlines, the language escalated fast. Camilla was pushed aside, quietly sidelined, eventually expelled. And in nearly every version, William was cast as the man pulling the strings behind it. But look closely, and the story falls apart. No palace communication supports it. No constitutional filing exists. No credible source has produced actual evidence that Camilla lost anything. So does that prove the rumor is false? Not exactly. It proves something more revealing. The story isn't built on facts. It's built on what audiences already expected to be true. So what do we actually know for certain? Confirmed. Camilla continues official engagements alongside King Charles III, fully recognized in her constitutional role. Confirmed. William continues his duties as Prince of Wales. Nothing more, nothing less. Observed. Public attention is increasingly locked onto William and Catherine, and that visibility feeds the illusion that power has already shifted. Interpreted. Some read that visibility as proof of internal change. Others see it as nothing more than a hereditary institution naturally preparing its next generation, the same way it always has. The evidence points one way, public belief points another. And that gap, right there, is where stories like this one live and multiply. There are really only two ways to read what's happening. The first view says growing prominence for William and Catherine signals a real, gradual shift in influence. And that figures from an earlier chapter Camilla included may fade from the spotlight naturally. The second view is far more grounded. Constitutional historians point out that every heir gains visibility long before ascending. That's not scandal, that's tradition. Increased attention on William doesn't mean reduced power for anyone else. It never has. One reading fits the constitutional record, the other reading fits the headlines. Only one of them is actually happening. So why does any of this matter beyond palace gossip? Because this was never truly a story about two people. It's a preview of the tension the monarchy will face for decades. The pull between tradition, which demands stability no matter who's watching, and modern audiences who now expect transparency almost in real time. An unverified rumor like this one becomes something bigger in that environment. It becomes a stand-in for a much larger argument about renewal, trust, and what the crown is supposed to represent next. And there's a reason this particular kind of story spreads so fast. Psychologists have long pointed out that people are drawn to stories of transition, moments where the old is ending and something new hasn't fully arrived yet. Uncertainty makes people search for patterns, for hidden signals, even when there isn't enough evidence to justify the conclusion they're reaching. The royal family is the perfect stage for that instinct. Its ceremonies are public. Its internal decisions are not. That silence leaves a gap, and gaps get filled, whether or not what fills them is true. Online, those guesses don't stay guesses for long. They get repeated, reshared, and reinforced until they start to sound like established fact. And by the time they reach you, familiarity has quietly replaced proof. So here's where this actually leaves us. Confirmed. There is no palace announcement stating Camilla has been expelled from the royal family. Confirmed. There is no verified evidence that Prince William authorized any such move. What this moment really exposes isn't a palace secret. It's a shift in how the public relates to the monarchy itself. Increasingly, the narrative isn't shaped only by what the palace announces. It's shaped by what audiences expect to happen next. Whether William eventually leads a smaller, more streamlined monarchy is a question only time will answer. But right now, most of these headlines tell us far less about confirmed decisions inside the palace and far more about the hopes and assumptions of everyone watching from outside its gates. So here's the real question worth sitting with. It's not whether this rumor is true. It's why so many people were ready to believe it before a single piece of evidence ever surfaced. As Britain moves toward its next generation of royal leadership, two questions remain unanswered. Will public expectation end up shaping the monarchy's future just as much as constitutional tradition does? And when this period is looked back on, what will people actually remember? The rumor or the truth that eventually caught up to it? If stories like this, grounded, evidence-based looks at the royal family's history and future, are the kind of content you want more of, subscribe. Because the next chapter is already unfolding, and the most important stories are always the ones worth waiting for the full picture on.